Hello, you guys, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. So, before I jump into the video, are we gonna have a look at my outfit? Yeah, I think we will. So, y'all, it's Halloween, and I wanted to you can't really see it, but I wanted to get my Halloween, vibes on early. So I'm in all black today. And I'm still waiting for a couple of my other costumes. I got like 5. So I'm super excited to show you guys. So before I jump into this story, I'm going to be doing a short, just quick story time. I just want you to know, these stories are I only speak from my experience. And I think often as people, we have our own biases based on whatever has happened. So, no, I'm not trying to trigger you. No, I'm not trying to upset you for no apparent reason. Instead, I just wanted to talk about my experience. So, I'm going to be talking about my experience with the guy that I hooked up with. Now, a couple of videos back, I talked about decentering men. Now, I'm going to go further into that, but in order for y'all to understand why I've even gotten to that point, we need to take a step back and ask, what's been going on? So, the year is, I think it was 2022. And yeah, 2022 going into 2022 is my personal pandemic. And I was going through so much, I was living at home and there was some friction there within, the household. And I felt very alienated and alone. And it was during this time that I would basically try to escape the house. Like, I did not want to be arguing with my mother or my sister or just in that drama. So a lot of the time I would just go to the park, I'd visit friends, and I'd hang out for prolonged periods. And one of the friends that I met, it was actually a couple. I met them at a party, and in South Africa, mixed race people that are multi-generational, meaning for the last 100, 200, 300 years, everyone in your family's been mixed. They're called colored, and they have their own identity, their own phenotype. And honestly, I would describe a lot of colored guys, like Mexican or like Cuban guys. They have that bravado. They have that bravado. And because when we talk about colored South African men, it's a combination of different races: black, white, Asian. That's all up in this person's family. So they can look really, some of these colored boys, South African colored boys, are very, they're very good to look at. But I've always had this thing where I sort of I'll look at them, I'll flirt from a distance, I will feast my eyes, but I don't really hook up with a lot of South African colored guys, only because South Africa is so transphobic. Now, I meet a couple and we become instant friends. I end up sleeping over at, this woman's house. I slept in the same bed with her and we were like best friends that day. I forgot where her husband went, but it was basically just me and her for that weekend. And yeah, we were just hanging out, and I got a chance to meet her son and her daughter. So this woman is in her 50s, and her husband was in his like mid 50s. They had a daughter, who was pregnant at the time, lovely young girl, and a son. The thing is, okay, so this young man, he's a Scorpio, and he is the type of person that acts like his star sign. He was very secretive. I remember when I met him the first time, it was just a quick hi and bye. And then he got into an argument with his dad. And it was this whole thing where his dad didn't want him to come into the house. So I play mediator, and I go and I basically tell him, like, look, your parents are kind of in a funk right now. I'm so sorry. And I remember, like, we had this moment where we were talking, by the gate, and we're looking at each other. And he has like hazel green eyes. They change depending on what he's wearing. And I was like, these boys stay being sexy. Anyways, I don't really hang out with him. Like, I'm friends with his parents. On one occasion, I go over to the house looking for his mom, but the mom wasn't there. The son was there, and we were going to call the son Denver. Now, when I found out that the mom wasn't there, luckily Denver at this point, he was outside the gate. So I had never, like, I didn't even enter the gate at that point. It's important that I mention this. So he told me from outside the house, his parents weren't there. And I was like, that's a bummer. I'm just going to go visit someone else. And I was going to cross the bridge. Now, the bridge in King Williamstown is dangerous. If you are not from King Williamstown, you don't cross that bridge. The only reason I could cross that bridge was Denver stood there watching, and he's friends with a lot of those guys, and a lot of those people knew me. And I'll be honest, like, a lot of the gangster type guys did know me because I grew up there. But I liked, the fact that Denver was watching, making sure I was safe, protected, and I knew, like, this boy is like 6'3" with muscles. He is all testosterone. I knew, dare anyone even come next to me while I'm crossing the bridge, Denver would have been there, smacking them down. So the following day, I go back to where Denver stays. Now, I wasn't going to go see Denver. I was going to go see his mom, like, and I wanted to hang out with his dad and, like, just chill and have, like, a cool, like, afternoon/evening. Girl. Now, me and Denver had kind of been eyeing each other, but it's not a line that I would cross because, his parents knew I was trans, everyone knew I was trans, but I had never said the words directly to him. So I don't know what he knew about me, but the way people gossip, I'm sure at some point his parents would have told him because of what happened. So I get to the house, I open the gate, and I knock on the door. Denver opens the door. Tell me why. Like, I don't know, like, if he had just had some, like, liquor or whatever, but before I could say anything, he grabbed me by my waist and he pulled me inside that house and the door slammed behind me. So I'm like, hey, oh, you're friendly today. So he's like hugging and like kissing me. So like just on my neck. So obviously I'm like, whoa, where are your parents? What's all of this? His parents were not there. We were home alone. Remember how I said Denver was all secretive and we would sometimes like look at each other but we never actually spoke? Girl. Yeah, we did have sex. But here's the gag. He wanted me to bottom for him. Denver, he is a big boy. Like, he is over 6 foot tall. His body's in proportion. I mean, his member, low-key was like a baby's arm. And I don't even enjoy bottoming. And it wasn't so much like, it was the width and the length that just took me out. And he wasn't going to let me top him. That wasn't going to happen. We're talking about a hood dude over here. It was so weird because he could sense that. So two things were happening. I was freaked out because he pulled me into his parents' bedroom. And he expects us to get wild and freaky up on that, like, in his parents' room. So I'm already uncomfortable with this. What if his mom, dad walks in and some kind of nasty's going on? I mean, it would have been, it was fun nasty, but I was like, why is this moving so fast? Like, slow down. And I'm not comfortable with you topping me. Girl. Before I could even get down on my knees, he had pushed me down. And two things can be true. On the one hand, I was very sort of taken aback, uncomfortable with how fast this was going. But God, was he sexy. Like, Penelope straight up betrayed me that day because it didn't matter what reasoning I was using.